I am going to laugh at myself a little bit here because I'm on the couch, as you can see, because I woke up and I got everything set up in my office to do this live. And there's a roofing crew like 2 houses down, and they are making all kinds of racket. So I am on the couch today. Thought this would be a little bit something different and probably less noisy depending on what the dogs do. Today's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I am going to attempt to make a little bit of small talk here, even though I feel that I'm not very good at small talk, because I want people to join before I really dive into all of the content. So here's me being not good at small talk, but it's Tuesday. So I don't know if you're like me, but on Mondays, I'm like fired up, ready to go. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get all the things done. I have all these goals that I want to meet. Hey, Tara. And I want to get all the things done, but I go too hard on Mondays. And by Monday afternoon, I'm like, my eyes are droopy and I need like a third cup of coffee and I'm exhausted and I've completely wore myself out. And so on Tuesdays, it's like kind of a fresh start, because Monday afternoons, I'm like, man, I just did not get done what I thought I could accomplish in one day. So today is a fresh start and I am excited for that. But as you can see, if you just now joined me, I'm on the couch because there's a roofing crew 2 doors down and they are noisy. So we are going to attempt to do this in the quiet in the living room. Avoid sunlight on Mondays. I feel you, Tara. Like yesterday, I was like, I need to take a nap. Like I did so many things during the day and then I hit the afternoon and was like, I need to just chill for a minute. Like I need to take a nap. And then I worked all night to try to make up for the chill time that I did take. And Mondays are rough. Mondays are rough no matter what, whether you feel like working, whether you're, the type of person who's super energized on a Monday morning or not. So yeah, so I started today with some really good coffee and I've been listening to some awesome videos to get me all pumped up. But I always kind of feel like doing lives are really funny because you're just kind of talking to yourself. I mean, you're just kind of like in your office or at your house, like talking to yourself, which is odd, right? Like I've went over this training with my dogs multiple times, so I've definitely said it aloud basically to myself because they don't listen. But I always think it's really comical that I wish somebody was sitting here to do it with so that it was just a little bit less awkward. I don't know if anyone else feels that way and thinks that lives are awkward, but I do for sure. So here's me being awkward over here, teaching stuff. Hey, Mom. Oh, coffee's definitely live. Hey, Melissa, glad you're here. I'm so excited for what we're going to go over, but I want to give it a couple more minutes because I know we had several people RSVP and comment on the post that they were really excited about this. So I want to make sure that they have a minute to join us and that it doesn't get too crazy. I don't dive into too much stuff. I'm listening to the dogs in the other room like, CBD treats, kick in. Today's the day. So this weekend I went to a seminar because I like to fill my weekends sometimes, not every weekend, but with something intentional, something to do, something to continue the momentum. And there's a photographer here in Oklahoma City who is super successful with his business, and he has now started teaching other photographers kind of just the lay of the land and what he has done that has been very successful. And I went to his 2-day business seminar this weekend and definitely came back on fire. Loved seeing how he runs things. Even just getting a different perspective of how anyone does something different is amazing, and even if you don't implement everything that they do, like you guys listening to me, even if I say things that you're like, no, I don't think that will work for me, even just opening your ears for a minute and listening to say how they do things differently can inspire you to come up with your own new way of doing things. And I think that that's so powerful. So I came back from his seminar, fired up, ready to go. And it really kind of fired me up to teach you guys too, because obviously that's what he was doing. He's very successful in his business and has decided to teach young and upcoming photographers. And it kind of showed me that there's a big possibility there to share your knowledge with other people. So yeah, I was excited, had a great weekend. I hope you guys all had a great weekend too. Yeah, so I think I'll go ahead and dive in maybe just a couple of minutes. I'm watching who all's on. I would love to know a little bit more from you guys after I go through all of this, what you want to see next. Because I really want to make intentional trainings for you and intentional content that dives into what really matters to you and what's going to make a difference in the stage of business that you're in, because all of us are in different stages. So I'd like to take the information that you give me, come up with the largest consensus, and then pool my time there and put together information that you really want to know, instead of me just wasting my time and putting together information that you're all like, I already know that, or that really doesn't matter to me. So after this is over, I would love for you to jump in the group or send me a private message and let me know what worked, what was effective, what you liked. And then from here, what would be helpful for you to see next? Because, I've been doing this for a really long time. So it's easy for me to just kind of say like, oh, this is what they need to know. But it's so much better if you just tell me what you need to know. So I know it's hard to be interactive in a group, so feel free to send me a message if that's just not your thing. And I'm glad to do that and answer back. I'm laughing because dogs are in the room barking and scratching and doing the dog things that they do. If you don't know me, if you don't follow me personally, my dogs are my life. I have a husky and a Malamute, and they're insane. I'm going to be really honest. They're just crazy. They jump on people. We work with trainers. We do all the things, but they're crazy. They jump on people. They scratch. They're just big dogs that don't like to be caged up. So I get it. Okay, I think we probably have enough people on that I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'd like to first dive into what is the problem with social media content, with creating your own social media content. And I want to say that I totally get it, right? Like, I've been in this boat. I've created content for myself. I've created content for other people. I understand where you're coming from when you say that coming up with a perfect social media content is really freaking hard, right? It's really hard because you're sitting behind a computer and you're almost guessing at what's going to work and what's not going to work. And I want to acknowledge that that's not an easy thing to do, and commend you on standing back up and trying again over and over, because that's an incredible persistence to stay in your business. So why is this so hard for all of us to do? That's silly. It's just a post on Facebook or on Instagram, right? Why is this so hard? It's because you don't want to come off as too salesy, right? But you want your audience to know that you're here and what you have to offer. Sometimes it can literally feel like you're screaming from the rooftops, hey, can anybody hear me? I'm over here, pay attention to me. And that's really hard to do. Sometimes you just don't even know what to say, and you're so paralyzed by not knowing what to do that you just stop, you just halt and do nothing at all. And that is a bad place to be in, especially with how all the Facebook algorithms work, all the Instagram algorithms work, because that means nobody's seeing what you're doing, because you're not putting anything out there for them to see, right? So where's the solution? How do you talk about yourself? How do you talk about the products that you sell and the services that you offer in a way that really works for you, but also in a way that really works for your audience? So where's the solution? The solution is actually so much more simple than you think. And I'm so excited to share it with you. But let's talk first about what the solution isn't, right? It doesn't involve becoming the most amazing writer on the planet, right? You don't have, this isn't AP English. This isn't like some college paper you're turning in for a grade. You don't have to be the most incredible writer of all time to write compelling social media content that converts to sales. It doesn't mean that you have to be the most tech savvy person ever. I hear all the time, I just don't really understand how technology works, so obviously I'm not going to be good at social media content. That's such a lie. That it changes all the time anyway. So even the people like me who do understand technology, we're relearning and regrowing and Googling things 24/7. Because, I mean, you got to think, Facebook and Instagram have teams of hundreds of developers. They're putting in new systems and new processes into their platform all the time. So everyone is on a level playing field in some regard, because we're all learning their new things at the same time, because they're rolling out in real time. It doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your values and who you are to become who you think they want you to be. Right? Hear that from me, because it's so easy to say like, oh, well, I would do more video if I was just skinnier, or I would, post more things if I was an influencer on Instagram and was able to travel the world and take all these pretty pictures. That's unattainable for everyone, right? And you want to be relatable to your audience, so it doesn't mean that you have to become someone that you aren't and give up on who you are and what your values are. So it's time to flip the script in your mind, right? There's a mindset shift that needs to happen from you as the business owner. There's a quote that I love that says, as a business owner, you are the problem. Hear that, you are the problem. But the cool part is, you are also the solution. So you are the one who can implement change, who can do things different. So there's a mindset shift that needs to happen within you, and it's pretty simple, and it's very important in order to grasp how you converse with your audience on social media. So I know what you're thinking. I came here to learn how to write things, how to tangible tips on how to produce better content. We're going to get to that, trust me. But if you don't understand this part, you'll never be able to take the tangible tips that I give you and truly implement them. It will just never happen. So what is the mindset shift? Are you ready for it? Are you like really ready for it? It's not about you. Let me say that one more time for the people who just tuned me out. It is not about you. Seriously, people think that they have to come up with the perfect way to promote their products or their services, and all of the pieces will just fall in place once they've come up with this perfect way to say all the things. I hear often, if I could just come up with a way to convince them to buy my product or my service. Convince them? Who are you? Convince them? Are you a used car salesman? I bet that's what you feel like when you're trying to convince them all over social media to buy your stuff, right? So if it's not about you, then what is it about? It's all about them. 100%, it's all about them. So think about it. Why do you make any purchase online that you make? It's because you feel understood. You feel safe. Have you ever hired someone to do a job at your house, maybe, or purchased a product online and afterwards it just felt good? Like you just felt like that was the right decision. I did the right thing. That was amazing. There's a reason for that. That's why Amazon reviews are so effective, because you're actually reading in real time why it works for people, right? It's why we continue to get our hair done at the place that's more expensive. It's because they happen to have the best conversation, the best environment, and awesome coffee, or sometimes wine. So why does this matter for sales? Sales? I thought we were here to talk about social media. What the heck does this have to do with sales? No. Everything leads to sales, right? Your brand is who you are. Marketing is how they find you, but sales is how you actually exist as a business. If there isn't money coming in, you're no longer in business, right? You're not a functioning business. If you can't put food on the table for your family, if you can't keep a roof over your head, you have no business. And you have a hobby instead, to be honest. And that's why sales are so important. So everything leads to sales. So in a world of social media and people who are just over marketed to, it's everywhere, right, guys? It's all over our social feeds. It's all over TV. It's in every mall we walk through. We're over marketed to. Buyers are really just looking for a place that they feel safe and understood. A place that they feel like they get me. They understand me, right? So I'm sure there's a reason for that. The places that you've purchased from that you're like, yeah, that was a good purchase. I feel like they really understand me. There's a reason those people put a lot of effort into making sure that they understand their audience and that they're putting out content that really fits with who their audience is. They've made a safe space for you online where you feel that they want more than just your money, right? That they care about you as a person. And that's what needs to be created in order to have an effective piece of social media marketing. So the other thing I want to kind of throw in here as a little PS is you kind of have to let go of what people think, right? You can't say, yeah, but if I'm really audience centric and I'm talking about what matters to them, then what if my mom doesn't like it? And my mom's on here. But what if my mom doesn't like it, right? You have to let go of those things. It doesn't matter if it's a loyal customer who's been with you for a while. If they no longer align with where you're going, they're no longer the right customer for you. And you get to decide that as a business owner. Who are you and where are you going? And you'll find the right people to follow you, right? Okay, so sometimes it's okay if you lose some people. Sometimes it's okay if even those people are family members or close friends. And it's all going to work out in the end. The other thing I want to say is that sometimes you have to be a little bit genuine, right? We're in my living room today because there's a roofing company down the street that's too loud. I'm sure you've heard my dogs barking in the next room, and not how I had today planned, but sometimes you have to be real with your audience because then they understand that you're not just this perfect company or person that they need to just buy for to put money in your pocket, right? That's icky. Nobody likes that. People don't like to feel like they're just putting money in the pockets of big box stores. It's the same thing. They don't want to feel like they're putting money in your pocket that you're not doing good with or that you're not appreciative of. So it's important to be genuine and open up and be a little bit vulnerable sometimes, but just know you don't have to share your entire life on Facebook. You get to set the boundaries of what that looks like for you and do what's comfortable for you. So let's talk about a few big examples because I like to give examples that pretty much everyone has heard of, right? So who does this well? Ring doorbells. What do? They sell security cameras, doorbells for homeowners, and really, if you're being honest, so does a ton of other companies. Why does Ring doorbells stand out? They stand out because they talk about how important safety is for a household. They talk about how important it is for your children to be safe and for you to feel safe as a homeowner, right? They've even taken this to the next level, and they have an app for neighbors to be on in order to share things, even like my dog's out, right? But to share security footage of, hey guys, my car almost got broken into last night, or this thing is happening down the street. So they have really created this environment to where homeowners can join together and say, safety is important to us, and it's important to us as a company, and we know it's important to you. And we're going to talk about all those things. And they talk about safety, even if it doesn't relate to a product that they sell. But you know what? When you think about, hey, we're going to move and I want to put some security cameras up, who are you going to think of? the people who really care about your safety, right? Let's give another example of this, Target. Of course, everybody loves Target. But what does Target actually do, right? At the end of the day, they sell groceries, they sell household items, they sell clothes, a few other things, everyday essentials, toilet paper, and that kind of stuff. But why do they stand out? They stand out because they go the extra mile to satisfy their target market. A little pun, target market, Target. Who's their target market? Moms, right? They have expectant mother parking. They have the baskets that are comfortable for your kid to sit in and are easy to push around so you're not breaking your back, right? They have, let's not forget, a freaking Starbucks inside, right? They've decided and they know how stressful it is to take your family shopping, or sometimes by yourself when you just need some alone time, right? So they understand moms and their needs. So they're like, you know what? We're not going to make this a hectic shopping trip for you. We're going to make this an experience. We're going to make this a time that you can really enjoy going to the store. And that's why moms love Target. So they've gone the extra mile to make their buyers feel like they're in a safe space and feel like they're understood. So yeah, we're not all Target. How do we do this, right? So when you start to dive into your potential customer and who they are and what problems they face, whether they're related to your business or not, you're able to create a well-rounded marketing experience for them. For example, I had a lunch date with an awesome newborn and birth photographer recently, and we were talking about this, like, how do you do this, right? Her ideal client is brand new moms. And what problems do new moms face? Here, I'll give you a list. How the heck do I get my kid to sleep, right? Time for anything and everything. That's a difficult one. Remembering how to be themselves in a whole new season of life. That's important to new moms, right? Caring for the health of their baby. Selecting the best products to use. So then how does this apply to this photographer's business and how she can talk about being relatable? So how the heck do I get my kid to sleep? She does it all the time in newborn sessions, right? Those kids are sleeping and they're propped up in their cute little poses. So she could do videos on her swaddling techniques on how she gets kids to sleep during sessions. So now she's sharing knowledge with that audience. Now she's not just saying, hey, look at me, I produce awesome pictures, but let me teach you something. Let me educate you on how this works for me. So time in general for everything, how could she come up with marketing that works for that? She can streamline her processes, save that mom time when she comes to her session, right? And then talk about it on social media about why saving time is so important to her and how she understands that that's so important. How could she relate to remembering how to be themselves during an identity change? Well, she's also a mom, right? So she could talk about how she remembers that time of life and how it felt to her, you know, how she hears people with similar experiences and talk about those things. So what about caring for the health of her baby, of their baby? How could she relate to that? Here's a key. You don't always have to be the expert in what you're talking about online. We always think, I can't say anything because I'm not the expert at that yet. But you know what you can do? You can bring in the expert, right? It's called being the reporter. So in that situation, how does she talk about hitting the pain point of I care about the health of my baby? How do we relate to that as a marketer? She could talk about, she could bring in a pediatrician or maybe a nurse to do a guest video or a blog that talks about how many times is too many times to call my doctor, right? I feel like that's something that I would run into. So she can do things like bringing in other people to talk about the things that matter to her audience. She doesn't always have to be the one. What about Let me see, make sure I don't get lost here. What about selecting the best products to use? That's a thing that's very important to new moms. She could write a blog post or drip different posts down throughout her social feeds featuring different products that she loves, right? So she can talk about different baby monitors and which ones she's found is best. She can poll her audience and ask them what works best for them, what they've found. There are lots of possibilities that she could tap into there. So now by doing this, she's not just a photographer, right? She's someone that you will continue to follow even past your session because she's giving great information. She's someone that you will refer all your new mom friends to because she's an expert, not just at what she does, but in understanding who you are and what your needs are. She's someone that you will bring your kids to back over and over and over again because she truly cares about you and your children. She's someone who you will write reviews for and tell all your friends about, maybe invite out for a cup of coffee. Because she's not someone that you hired one time. She's someone that really understands you. So you see this change in mindset. You see how the difference comes in, right? This change in mindset, making all the content that you put out customer-centric instead of about you, is creating a space where your potential customers feel safe, feel understood, which is exactly how you want to feel as a buyer, right? But you're doing it for them. So when they make a purchase, they're not just giving you money, they're making a connection with you and who you are. And that matters. So when do you talk about what you actually do and what you actually sell, right? Because if we're always talking about other people's products to sell to new moms, or we're always talking about the Starbucks that's inside a Target, when do you actually talk about you? You talk about you all the time. You just, instead of every post saying, buy this thing from me, hire me for this service, you're saying, you're putting in posts that are meaningful to your audience, that are relatable to what you do. So for example, say you own a company that makes natural cleaning supplies. If you make a post talking about each of the ingredients that you use and why, it doesn't say buy now. It doesn't say go to my Etsy store. It doesn't say, you have to purchase this from me. It's giving good information. We use vinegar because vinegar is great and natural or whatever. I obviously don't do that. You're educating people on these ingredients, but you're reminding them that these are the types of things that you put into your products. And you care so much about them and their clean household that you're going to go the extra mile and educate them on what goes into your products. So when it's time to put on the hard sell, when you actually do need to ask for something, right? Go for it. Be blunt. Ask them. Ask for what you want them to do. But how do you do this without being salesy? It's because you believe wholeheartedly that the thing that you're offering is beneficial to them. Right? You believe that it's going to make a difference in their lives somehow. And this is easy to say when you're maybe a nonprofit and the thing that you're offering is, this awesome, heartfelt kind of thing. Well, you can do this with anything, right? My mom owns a bakery. So how can you do this with cookies? You're saving that mom time, right? You're making it easier for them to just pick something up instead of making it themselves. Because you understand that your audience doesn't have a lot of time. So then when you ask them for it, you can be blunt and you can say, drop by, buy cookies from us, because we understand you, because we are saving your time. We're going to make it a quick transaction. We're going to get you in and out the door. Shoot, you don't even have to bring your kids in if you don't want to. So the best way to do this is when you aren't begging for a sale at this point, right? You're so on fire for how you can help them. You're so fired up for how you can help them that you're not just saying buy this thing, but you're providing something that's really going to benefit their lives and solve a problem for them. Be obsessed with them, guys. Fall in love with them. Fall in love with what you bring to the table, not for yourself and the money that you're going to get from it, even though obviously that's necessary, but for what you're going to do for them. right? When I build a website for someone, of course, it's one of my biggest ticket items. It's something that brings me a good revenue. But at the same time, I keep in mind that really what I'm doing is opening up the floodgates to what they can do now with their business. It's giving them tools that they didn't have before, right? It's opening up the box to where they can say, shoot, now we could do online scheduling. Now we could take payments online. Now I can put all my policies in one place so I can stop repeating myself, right? It's giving them a tool that's benefiting their lives, their businesses. So if you become that obsessed with your customer that the things that you're doing are so beneficial to them, it won't be like a salesy ask. You're just giving them information and telling them how amazing it is for their lives. So obviously, I know you guys are going to want some tangible tips. How do we do this, right? Because saying to do it, talking about a mindset shift, and then actually doing it are two separate things. Who's with me? Yeah. One thing that I do is write to someone specific. Pull up the Facebook profile of someone that's either in your ideal audience or someone who already is one of your clients or customers. When you write out your post, write it to them. Don't put their name in it. Just write it to them, because if they really are your ideal audience, that post is going to resonate with other people that you're talking to as well. The second thing I wrote down is make a free-form list of the problems that they face. I'm not kidding. Pen and paper. Because when you type things like that, your mind just doesn't stick as well. There's a huge science behind writing things with your hands. Now, I have awful handwriting, trust me. But when I write things, I hardly ever go back and read it, because now it's locked in, right? Now I know it. When I type it, it doesn't do that. So pen and paper, as much as I like technology, something just solidifies in your mind when you write. Grab a notebook, a dry erase board, whatever, and write down all the problems that you can think of that your clients or your customers face, right? Anything, just free form write it. I did this with my business. I work with business owners. Time is a really big deal. Finding someone that they trust is a really big deal. Write all of those problems that they face, even down to, budget, or talk about where they shop, what they do. Why do they do those things? It's to solve a problem. You can kind of take this to the next level by having your problems list. Here's the problems that they face. And then you pair it with, here's the solutions that we bring to the table. So you're saying, here's the problems, but here's the solutions. So then now you're crafting posts. Create a standard of words that you or your team could use. I know a lot of people are one woman or men shows, but if you create kind of a standard of words, one of the things I do is I love champagne. So you'll often hear me say cheers. Or I really do consider a lot of my clients friends. You get to know each other over the course of a long project. So you'll often hear me open videos or emails with, hey friends, hi friends, or happy Thursday friends, because that's part of my vernacular. That's part of how I want my business to be perceived. So if you write a list like this, one, you can now hand some of this stuff off to someone who can follow suit with who you are, how you talk about yourself. Two, when you sit down at midnight or whenever you guys are working on this stuff, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're not having to stretch your mind so far. You kind of have a list to follow. Take care. This is a big one. Please hear me on this. Take care of the following that you have. It's so easy for us to get caught up, and I'm so guilty of this too, to get caught up in, oh, I want my numbers on my Facebook and my Instagram to be higher. I need more people. I need more people to talk to. Not necessarily. If you have the right people following you, I don't care if it's 100 people. Could you imagine if all of those 100 people did business with you this month? What would that do to your income? If you just took those 100 people and talked to them and related to them and really made it worth their while for following you on social media. It's inevitable that they're going to feel loved and understood. They're going to share your stuff. They're going to make a deeper connection with you. And that becomes what used to be word of mouth but it's happening on social media now. They start recommending you. They start writing reviews for you because they understand you, and then they're ready to purchase when they're ready to purchase, right? So use the data. This is a hard one for some people because they just want to post things and then go off their feeling. On my business page, we don't get a ton of engagement, but you know what? I'll be at Target. Hello, Target. And someone will come up to me and be like, oh, I noticed that you were doing this planning worksheet. I'm going to buy that. Right? And I'm like, but you never commented. You never even liked it. I didn't even know that anybody saw that, right? But if we get so hung up on what we feel happens from the posts that we put out, then we really don't stop to think about what's actually happening. So you can run reports in the Insights page in both Facebook and Instagram. Sometimes they're looped together the way that they're both owned by the same people, if you don't know that. And stop guessing about which posts were more popular. Run a report, and the ones that were more popular, do more of that, right? And then the ones that were the least popular, either come up with a new way to approach that subject that would work better, or maybe just try to take that subject off your radar. Say you're selling baby clothes and all the purple ones are least popular, or maybe purple's just not a color that's working in your store. It's a good place to use the data to figure out what to do with it. Be consistent. There's a saying that I love, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, that people have to see things 5 full times before they make a decision. Make any sort of decision. Sometimes they have to see it 5 full times before they'll even click through to your website. Then you got to hook them in for a sale, right? So it's important to be so consistent. Just because you put one post out there saying that you're offering something new and you don't get $1 million in sales overnight doesn't mean that the thing that you're offering is bad. It just means that you need to be more consistent with getting it in front of your audience and approach it from all different angles, right? So if this is the thing that you're selling, you need to come at it this way and 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 this way. It's not the thing and the one post you put out that's going to make it popular. It's the consistency and the combination of all of those things working together that really creates marketing. Narrow down your 5 main values. So this one's kind of a fun one, I think, because if you sat down and this used to be called core values, you can call it a million different things. But if you really sit down and say, you know, maybe being fun is really important to my brand. I really want to be known as a fun place to go online. Then, you know, videos, like fun little snippets of videos or sharing memes, or a funny cat video, or sharing a YouTube video that made you laugh. Maybe those things are really important to you, or maybe even announcing your products in a really fun, lighthearted way, right? The seminar I went to this weekend, Brandon Burton, he does a Blue Wednesday sale. There was one year that he painted his entire face blue and took pictures of himself and put that out online because he's known for being very fun and lighthearted. So he was like, I'm blue for Blue Wednesday. There are some fun things that you can do, but if fun is not one of your core values, don't worry about it. Be who you are. But if you write down your 5 main core values, then you can continue to reference back to them over and over again when you craft marketing messages so that you're not going too far off track from who you really are. Story brand yourself. I'm a big fan of Donald Miller and Story Brand. I will say after I did this, my sales took off in a big way. I'll put a link in the comments for how you can go online and use their free system to do it yourself. Another thing is you can poll your audience. Stop guessing at what is important to them, right? Ask them. Just ask them what's important to them. You guys probably notice, but I do it to you all the time, right? I'm constantly going, hey, we're talking about social media, but which part of social media do you actually want to learn about? That's what we're talking about today because you told me this is what you want to talk about today, right? And I had more RSVPs for this live than any other thing I've ever put out because I asked what was important and I came back with content that really mattered to you. So poll your audience, ask them questions on Instagram. If you don't feel comfortable doing this online, take one of your best customers to lunch. Ask them a bunch of questions. Say, hey, could I buy you lunch today? Is this more important to you or this? Tell me some problems that you face in your life, whether they're related to me or not. That's a great way to get your problems list down. The last one on my list of tangible tips is use your own voice. If you're funny, be funny. If you're not, don't worry about it. If you're warm and warm and caring, be that. The photographer I was talking about, she cries at every birth she photographs, and she's on Facebook Live afterwards, bawling tears of goodness. And that's who she is, and her people can connect with her because that's who she is. There's a saying that says, you get back what you put out. So think about what you want and who you are and how that aligns, and put more of that out. And that's what you'll continue to get back. If you don't want the snippy customers that are constantly complaining and writing bad Yelp reviews or whatever, don't come back with these complaints all over Facebook, talking rants and talking about all the things that bother you. Be warm and warm and caring, and they'll be that to you. You get back what you put out. So, conclusion. You have to shift the story that's in your mind, right? It's a mindset shift that your social media is about you. It's not about you. It's 100% about them. So keep in mind that social media ultimately exists to close sales. So the best way to do this is to create an online space where your customers and potential customers feel safe, they feel understood. That's what's going to lead to sales. There are companies large and small doing this all over the world. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Find the ones that connect with you and watch them. Watch what they're doing. You guys, I send you emails all the time that I take and save to PDF emails that I get in my inbox all the time. And I do this because I like the way that it resonated with me. So I'll take that similar formatting or message and reinvent it in a way that's me. And that's what I send to you. And I don't reinvent the wheel every time. I'm not starting over all the time. Only once you've mastered the mindset shift of becoming obsessed with your customer can you start to implement any tangible tips that I ever give you. Because you could, sit and make a list of problems all day long, but if you're really not trying to talk to them, it's not going to do you any good. You could make a list of core values, but if you're really not trying to talk to your audience in a way that works for them, it will never do you any good. If you're still trying to talk about you, it won't work. At the end of the day, your voice and your understanding of them is what matters to them. You don't have to be a perfect writer. You don't have to know the algorithms right and left. They change all the time anyways, so don't waste your time. You have to be you, and you need to understand them. That's what matters. So I'm in the process, or even right now, of making this shift. At Rise Business, they talked a lot about this, and it was things that I had already started implementing, but this is one of the things that I'm working on. So I want to be really real with you in saying that this isn't perfect all the time. I don't expect anyone to go, oh, ding, 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 I got it. It's something that you're going to have to implement over and over again and try at over and over again. Do you want to know why? Because you're too close to what you're doing. You're so close. You're in the weeds right now, right? And this is why people hire social media managers, because they can't get themselves out of the space that they're out in order to talk about things. But you can do it. You just have to continue at it over and over and over and over again. And that's what will ultimately create success, and your audience will catch on and they'll realize it. So I'll stick around for a minute and do some Q&A I know we have a few people still on here. So if you want to ask me questions, I'll answer them. After a couple minutes, then I'm sure you'll get tired of looking at me, so then I will hang up and go check on the roofers next door. I got so excited to write this because it's something that I really am passionate about and care about a lot. Because I watch a lot of people online struggle to get traction in their business. And I really do firmly believe that this is the way that you do it. When I was at the Rise Business Conference, Rachel, and I love her. I love Rachel Hollis. She's outspoken and crazy, and I love that. She's not for everyone, but I love her. And she stood up on stage and she was like, I got you guys, right? I could sell anything. Tomorrow I could say, I'm going to sell phones and you would buy it. I'm going to say I'm going to sell leggings and you would buy them. I'm going to sell makeup and you're going to buy it. You know why? It's because she understands her audience enough to do it in a way that makes sense to them. She understands them enough to talk about it in a way that makes sense to them. And she's right. She's right. That girl came out with leggings. They would be in my cart in 2 seconds, shipped to my house, because she understands. So watch people online like that because they're doing it. People are doing it. And you just have to pay attention and then work on figuring out how that works for you. No questions? I'm that awesome? Oh, maybe I need to scroll down. You guys tell me I should start a podcast. Don't tell Steven that. He'll freak out. He's like, no more things. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are here. So if you came in late, I'm going to post this so that you can start back at the beginning. It's always really hard to do trainings on lives because you never know when people are going to dive in. But I'll post this so you can start back. I also encourage, if I find something that resonates with me, I listen to it multiple times because I find that it really helps. Another thing I want to mention that got brought up over the weekend, and it just kind of keeps coming up. You know how it's like when you buy a car and you've never seen that car before, and then it just like keeps coming at you everywhere, and you're like, oh my God, everybody else owns that car too. People keep mentioning the book to me, and I have not read it yet, but it's Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vee, and I believe. And the premise of it is that you have to serve, 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 ask, right? You have to give, 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 ask. It's, from a boxer, I guess they jab, 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 right hook. And you can use that philosophy in your business if you're really struggling with how many times do I ask for something and how many times do I just give information that really doesn't seem to relate to what I do. Okay, so Mandy asked, do you have a separate business page or mix business and personal? What are your thoughts? I 100% believe in having separate business pages because I believe that social media pages also exist for validity. Now, what does that mean? So say you're at a networking event, say you're at dinner, you meet somebody and you say, hey, this is what I do, here's my card. What are they going to do the next day? They're going to look you up online, they're going to look up your website, but websites are kind of, they could have written that website 3 years ago and you don't know that, right? So then how do you decide that they're worth working with now? How do you know that they're currently doing business right now? You go to their social media. The best way to do that, because your personal page may be private, you may not want to friend every person out there, is to have a business page that they can look at that you're posting to regularly. Then I still use my personal page for business. I just do it in a different way. So I talk about how excited I am about things. I talk about success stories. Like I did one of the biggest websites I've ever quoted. I just wrapped it up and I was very excited about it. And of course on my business page, I'm saying like, just finished up this website. I'm so excited about it. But on my personal page, I'm like, guys, I'm so proud of myself. Like I accomplished this, or I'm so excited about what this nonprofit now can do with this awesome website. So there are ways to talk about your business in a business sense and in a personal sense to where you're not turning off all of your friends. It's kind of a hard balance because you don't want to turn off all your friends by talking about what you do all the time, 24/7, right? Because they friended you. They want you on your feed for a reason. So I always say you should have both, but pay attention to how you use them. Oh, thanks. I try to do that well. I try not to bug my friends all with all the things that I do for business, which is hard for me because my entire identity is wrapped up in what I do. But I try not to be like, look at this thing I did. Look at these things. Do you want to hire me for a website? But it is really hard sometimes. You can ask as many questions as you want, girl. That's what I'm here for. I don't know why this thing won't scroll down automatically, but you know. Okay, she said, I've had a ton of people friend requesting me lately, and then immediately after acceptance asking me to like their business. What are your thoughts? I think that's icky sales. I think it's bad for them to do that because if someone's going to friend request me, to me, it's like they like me and what I do, and they want to dive more into who I am, not more into getting something from me, right? And this is a bad part with MLMs too, because I'm constantly getting hit up to sell things and to buy things from people. And I understand that they have to do their business, but I always just politely message them back and say, thanks so much. I will definitely check out your business page and what you do. And if it aligns with what I'm looking for or what might interest me, then I'll definitely give it a like and do it that way. And if I like it, sometimes I'll go back and send them my page and say, I liked your page. I really do think there is a connection there. I really think maybe you do sell natural cleaning supplies, and I think that's awesome. You should check out what I do. So I kind of just take that case by case, but I have unfriended people because I feel like they just friended me to get my business. And so I don't encourage doing that as a business owner. If you want to, gather more traction online, there are other ways to go about it. Yeah, it's kind of all about them and not about you. So exactly what I talked about today, where they need to make the mindset shift that it's about you. So if they really were friending you saying like, hey, maybe I'm a web developer. I love what you do. I followed your business page for a while, and I really do kind of think maybe there could be some improvements to your website. Could I give you a free consultation for that? That's a whole different ball game than them just friending you, messaging you, and saying, "Hey, will you buy things for me?" That's just weird salesiness that I don't like. It's icky sales, in my opinion. Thanks for those questions. Those are good ones. And I want to let you guys know too that, we don't always engage in the groups that we're in, and there's nothing different about this group than others. I'm in a ton of them. But if you ever do run across questions, you don't have to wait until live. You don't have to wait until I'm on there asking and polling you. Just feel free to write on the wall. Obviously I'm there and I will answer to the best of my ability, but there's a ton of other people in the group, including other marketing experts, that would be glad to give you their feedback. Okay, perfect. If there are no more questions, then I'm going to get off here and check on the pups, check on the roofers, and get all the things done today. But this was great. I hope that this format worked out okay. I didn't like the last one, how I had to share my screen, but you couldn't see me, because I feel like it doesn't deliver the same message. So I decided not to do a presentation this time. But if you really are saying like, I do better with written content, let me know and I'll send you my Google Doc that I put together for this, so that you can go through and read it. I know sometimes I like to hear things audibly, but I like to follow it up with actually reading it or going through a worksheet. So I'm working on those things. So I hope that you guys all enjoyed it. I would love some feedback, because this is where my passions are lying right now. I really want to share some of the knowledge that I have and do it in a way that works for all of us. So if you don't mind, just, shoot me a message and brighten my day a little bit and tell me, or tell me that you hated it. That's fine. I'm good with that too. But tell me what worked for you, so then I can continue doing more of that. So, okay. Yeah, you guys are so welcome. I'm glad that this worked out really great, and we had a lot of people on today, so I was excited about that. Yeah, until next time, I have some ideas for what the next social media training will be. Maybe on how to design things better, how to pick better pictures that resonate with your audience. So if that's something that is important to you, let me know. And I'll know kind of where to focus my efforts next. So I hope you guys have an awesome Tuesday and learned a lot from this. I am going to try to get into doing these more, but we'll see how it goes. And I love this group so much because it always uplifts me and gives me things that I need to be thinking about and stretches my mind even further. So thank you for being here. It's awesome. Happy Tuesday.